Welcome to Game Soup, it's a game design podcast where we throw ideas in a pot and see what's cooking. I'm Chloe Montgomery, and I'm joined, as ever, by Diana Jones, emerging designer.
Kayla Dice. I wonder how long I get to still be emerging.
Until they tell you to stop calling yourself that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder it's on the thing on, Rising Stars, because there's a point where you're a rising star, then eventually you're supposed to be a star, and if you didn't become a star in that time, I guess you fall into the sort of near miss, or could have been. I'm thinking in this case about actors, which have obviously a different relationship to stardom than whatever approximation we'd give in TTRPG.
So you're saying you're like Timothée Chalamet 10 years ago?
No. I am like... In theory, being labelled an emerging designer would mean you're, on the up. So, I suppose you'd be like... Margaret Qualley this year. Where it's like, oh yeah, that's a lot of big roles. She's kind of getting up there.
Yeah.
Fully being a star would be like being Timothée Chalamet now. Not being a star would be like being Josh Hartnett now. Where it's like, oh yeah, there was that whole moment where Josh Hartnett was going to be a big deal. And it just didn't happen. And he's worked out with a fine career. But, he was being sold as a next Brad Pitt, and he wasn't.
Yeah, he's not the first name on any poster.
This is the thing, do I at a certain point... If at a certain point I failed to become, the next Jeon Shim, is it oh yeah, no, Kayla didn't work out?
I think you just gotta keep plugging away. I mean, I can't imagine there's probably, a bunch of, unreleased shit in... Friggin', I'm trying to think of somebody who we would call a risen star, without being oh yeah, Mr. AAA Gygax. I'm sure there's, 12 versions of D&D we never got from Gary Gygax, that didn't become popular.
I have no idea, but yeah. I mean, popularity obviously is not, the be-all and end-all of everything, though...
But it is to your bank balance.
That's true. We are 4 days away from a Backer-Kit launch.
Oh, what for, Kayla? Tell us all.
For Transgender Deathmatch Legend 2. I have an interesting thing here. I feel like I have done everything for this campaign better than every other time I've done a crowdfunding thing. I think I, in theory, learned all of the lessons I was supposed to from Terminal and Psycho Dungeon. And in spite of that, the feeling in my gut that I'm going to put to recording is I think this is going to do worse than both of them.
Go prove Kayla wrong.
I'd love to be proved wrong.
Ratwave.games.terminal.
You should stop giving out addresses or directives of where people should go on the podcast, because they're never correct, and that's not helpful. You can go to gender.
There will be a link in the description, I'm sure.
Will there?
Yeah, send it to me now and I'll put it in the description as we talk.
Okay, gender.ratwave.uk.
Cool beans. And if you look in the description now, it will suddenly appear. That's how it works.
How has your week been, Chloe?
My week's been
had a
okay.
Week off, right?
Yeah. I'm halfway through my week off of work. I've put my notice in, so hopefully I won't be so bleary and out of it all of the time, but God knows. But this last week I've been bleary and out of it. So, yeah, I don't know. I had a very confused day yesterday.
I'm sorry.
But, we're good. So, this is the supposedly 1 year anniversary podcast episode. It's our second run at it, because the last one fucked up recording, don't worry about it. So in that one, we had written half of a game before the episode fucked up.
I don't do a quarter, but I see your point.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through those prompts we had, or not?
No, because I'll end up writing the same game again.
Bye, Uncle Gravity.
Look forward to Uncle Gravity coming soon on the Patreon, I guess. But in this world, we should actually write a game on the pod. So we're going to go to our old friend, the Random Word Generator, and get some random words and make a game, classic style.
Yeah, it's funny going back to classic style because it does mean we are banking the vague concepts we often throw at each other.
Yeah, I mean, like, the vague concepts feel like they could actually be a game, and I don't want to waste those on one-page game we write in 60 minutes or less.
The interesting thing, every time you've always pitched this as we write a one-page game. And in my mind, I'm like, a one-page game feels so much harder to write than a 4-page game.
Well, like, printable on your home printer, not
right.
You have to go to mixam.com or whatever.
I didn't know if you were like hardline being like, no, this is going to be a one-pager, because I was like, that feels like it takes more discipline than...
Typeface, 2-point.
I know, I've written one-page games and I've enjoyed them, but they are like they feel like a technical challenge to me.
I don't know, like, my first 6 games were all one-pages.
Interesting. Yeah, because my first 4 games were like, they were hacks of one-page games. They were not one-pages. Like, I did a Lasers and Feelings thing, which took up 2 pages. And then I think another was 4 pages. By the first time I was writing pure one-pages, I'd done enough design that I was like, yeah, I know what I'm doing here.
No, I'm just cracked.
Anyway, we're going to the random word generator. Have you got yours up?
I do. My word is vegetarian.
I'm going to reshuffle because my word would be terrible there. Iron. Iron vegetarian.
It's a game about going to the doctors and being told your B12 is low. And
can't relate.
It's a journaling
In
game
spite
about...
of everything I eat, my health and nutrition has always been fucking perfect. People come to me and they say, how are you okay, Kayla? And the answer is, I don't know, but I am.
I'm not even
Do not interrogate the various times I've complained about my health on this podcast. They are provably from different causes.
Christ. Yeah, I just have chronically low iron and take like extremely strong tablets, and it doesn't help. So
I got told a while back after a blood test, they were like, "Oh, hey, your vitamin, I think it was C or something." They were like, "That's kind of high. Are you taking any supplements?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Oh." Usually when a vitamin is too high, we just ask if someone's taking a supplement and then tell them to stop doing that because they're going over. And I'm like, should I be worried about this? And they were like, not really. It'll probably level out on its own. But I was like,
eat less oranges.
I have too much nutrition.
She's just too healthy. Doctors hate her.
Oh, doctors do hate me. Is this a cooking game? Because I feel we go to the cooking game well a lot, but I don't know if either of us have ever thought... Well, actually, No Picnics is a cooking game in a way.
Yeah. I think... What was your word? Iron.
Iron, yeah.
Is this... I mean, iron, I'm thinking cold iron, something to do with fairies.
I was thinking Iron Chef and wondering we were doing not only a cooking game, but a cooking competition game. But... If you want to go to fairies,
I'm thinking the fairies have found you. You've slighted the fairies somehow. Maybe you mowed your grass in a weird way or something like that. And now they've decided you've got to, pay them back. And the way you're going to pay them back is by cooking something for them.
For some reason, I liked all of that idea, and then I randomly had a different thought at the end, like as just a slight twist. They're not asking you to pay them back in food. They give you specific directives, and you have to twist these all into food. Like, they're like, we want a child, and you give them a child-sized meal, and say, like, this is what a child is.
Some baby carrots.
I think this is all about, like, conning the gods.
Yeah, it's about conning fairies. This is my favourite genre of crap. Like, in my City of Mist game, I'm currently trying to finagle my way into Titania's pants through Fey bargains. So,
Yeah, you've often got to figure out like specific word things and ways of like.
Yeah, I think we have like a list of things that they demand of you.
Yeah.
Like you're saying, a child. I'm going to start writing these down because we are writing this game. A child. Firstborn child. What else does a fairy want?
Youth.
Youth.
Sort of often I feel like maybe, you know, sort of primal emotions, like, oh, they want your greatest love. And then you're like, oh, I've baked this cake with love.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, that satisfies the wording of the contract, I see.
Like
you gotta outplay the fae.
Was baked into this. Yeah. Someone's final breath. Like a last breath.
So, beyond figuring out the, you know, escape clauses or whatever, what is this game? We've now got the premise. What are you actually doing in this game?
I think you have to get through, like, a set amount of Fae bargains or riddles, like a week's worth of Fae bullshit. And I don't know if I want to make it, like, and then you have to, in the real world, go and make these things.
This is
that, like,
fun.
This encourages you to, like, cook some cool things.
Yeah, I feel like
that
what we have proposed here is definitely like a solo game.
Yeah. Or like a family game. Like you work together with people to like work out how you can get out of these little riddles.
Yeah, maybe in this case, it's a game where you play yourself.
Yeah.
And so like you are asked collectively, like I think there's maybe a lot of fun questions about, like, how have you pissed the Fae off? What have you done? And you have to pick something you recently did in real life and say, like, the Fae would hate that.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm opening up the doc. We're doing it.
They, like,
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Fae might want to steal your name. And then it's like, I guess you try and find any kind of recipe which is named after you or has the same name as you.
Yeah.
So I guess this being maybe like a group activity game or a solo game, in the sense of like, oh, you're either playing yourselves and you're working things out together, and then you maybe do some cooking together. What is the success metric at the end? Because I feel this is loosely, actually, I will say, if we make this a group game and we go with this playing ourselves, we've kind of semi-invented, like, a parlor LARP, which is fine and fun. I've just realised that we've done it.
I think maybe each day of this challenge, you have to either invite somebody over for dinner, or, you know, somebody that you're playing it with in your family or your household, and if they have to enjoy the dish. So you have to cook it to their specifications as well.
Okay. That's fascinating because I love the fact that like my boyfriend eats anything. So like if I was playing this game and inviting him around, it would be very easy to do that. If I'm the Fae, danger zone for whoever is like not losing their soul out of this.
You put rosemary in this, I'm eating your face.
Okay, yeah, this is fun. Yeah, I semi-like this as an almost like, you know, you added this weird magical dimension to your own life, but otherwise it's an excuse to have nice meals with people you like and care about.
Exactly.
I feel like maybe, I know you said like for every day you play lists, but I do feel like you don't play lists in a week.
Yeah, it's not 7 days in a row, it's like over a space of time.
Maybe you play it over a month or a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I guess there's no GM, but there's probably advice on facilitating the game, which is mainly, I guess, advice around, like, hosting dinner and organising people. Because all of the rules are simple, but, like, I guess the actual complexity is you are needing to organise friends for meals.
Yeah. I think we, like, encourage people to, like, actually set tables, and, like, maybe there's, like, a whole, like, ritual, like, setting the table and, you know, presenting the food to your fairy guest or whatever.
Yeah. If you were not doing this as a one-pager, this definitely could satisfy the thing I've suggested you do before of a game with a cookbook.
Yeah.
It's essentially the back of the cookbook is some riddle answers. Where it's like, hey, if you get stuck, there's some suggested solutions for everyone. It's obviously funner if you figure out stuff with friends, but hey, I've got you.
But we're not your mom, so...
This is an interesting, because we had talked this up and said we'd take an hour for this. But if the idea is we do idea generation and then you go away and write it, I think this is done.
Well, okay, let's have... I want to have 6 things on this list. We've got 5 so far. So we've got firstborn child, youth, greatest love, our last breath, your name. I want a 6th one.
Oh yeah, what are often things the Fae sort of take? You know, taken youth, love, senses.
Senses.
Or a sense.
I like
specifically, maybe.
A sense.
Maybe what a sense that is not taste. And then it's like, to some extent, whatever you're making needs to really satisfy this other sense that is not actually.
Yeah, it has to be pleasing to look at or smell nice or something, yeah.
Yeah. You gotta get some on some Heston Blumenthal shit.
What's it called?
The game.
Yes.
This is a good question. We usually don't do these, but it does make sense to do one.
I'm thinking like the fairy cookbook or like how to cook for Fae or something like that. Like a...
I always feel as a visual design it would be like how to scam. Scam is crossed out. Cook for the Fae.
Yeah. How to cook for Fae and get away with it.
Oh, I like that, and get away with it, yeah. How to cook for the Fae and get away with it. That's a good name. I like that. I am more partial to long names. I'm sure some people probably avoid them for, like, social media character limits, but
yeah.
I
it's
think
more evocative. I get why light novels do it.
I also think it's a thing, like, you can just then shorten it. Like, I always call the game To Embrace a Swamp Creature. If I'm ever talking about it, I call it Swamp Creature.
Yeah, I mean, like, in conversation, this would just be, like, how to cook for Fae, or whatever.
Yeah. Or Fae cook, or something. It would be. In the same way you just talk about, like, no picnics in the dungeon as picnics, or picnic dunge.
Picnic dunge, yeah, I mean... Skirmish, Wallet Friendly Wargaming became Skirmy. Skibby-DB for a while.
I do think I know you hate the SEO of that, so I'm like, if you go back to that world, you gotta call it Skirmy.
Skeebs.
From the world of Skirmy. Okay, what are other things we should have to, like, make your writing easier?
Okay, so what I've got so far is about 7 lines. I've got, you play as you. You work out how you pissed off the Fae. You must get through how many meals?
I mean, you said you came up with 6 things they demand of you, right?
Yeah.
I'd say you say it as up to 6. And if you were doing less than 6, you roll the dice for what you're getting.
Yeah.
But, like... Realistically, I reckon the length of this is based on an individual player's question of how many people do I think I could get to play this game. I'm throwing out, if I was playing this game, I reckon there's like 3 people I could get on board for it. And I hate organizing things. Yeah. So like, I'd probably do this with 3 people. I'd do this with my housemate, my boyfriend, and I'd probably ask a friend I don't see that much, but I think would probably enjoy this aspect of it.
Yeah.
So I think it's like maybe a max 6, because you know who has 7 friends in this economy.
I think I have 7 friends.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you can like I think if we've only given 6 things, it's a max 6 people, and the players should choose based on what is fun for them.
You must cook a meal for the Fae while meeting the requirement. While meeting their requirements of you. I understand this is great radio.
I do think this is an episode you should maybe put more effort into editing than usually. I didn't mean that to sound as rude as it did. Special edition, okay, yeah. It's your friend who you invite for dinner is going to play the Fae, and they're judging whether your offering to them satisfies their demand, or whether you're going to lose whatever, has been wagered by them.
A young animal was used for the meat. Baby carrots are involved for something else. The Fae is played by a house guest you invite for dinner.
That reminds me, was Mouse Quest named to be a pun with house guest, or is that just a coincidence?
Yes, absolutely.
Ah, cool.
We then did change it to Mouse in the House, so...
That's true, yeah. Mouse in the House is good. I like that. Okay, yeah, we've got those specifics nailed down. What are other things that would just make your life easier when you get to writing that we could come up on this podcast?
Whose name goes first?
Between me and you.
Yeah.
You're doing the writing on this, so I'd say you get the name. Because,
okay.
At this point, all I think I'm really getting is a story credit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can credit me for design, but I can't be credited for writing, is the fact of this game.
I'm just putting and Kayla Dice.
Fair.
You're right up there, babe.
Right up there.
Okay, so the Fae is played by a house guest you invite for dinner. I'm just gonna start scratch noting rules for setting the table. Etiquette for the host and the guest. Role-playing ideas. The Fae guest must choose if the meal prepared for them is satisfactory for both their tastes, their personal tastes, and the meal's requirement.
Yeah, maybe you also write up some ideas for what playing the Fae looks like, being like, oh, you can go really weird with it if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
But also, you could just play yourself, but you've been designated, a Fae envoy, if you're not comfortable with that idea. But I like the idea of, oh yeah, you go a bit weird, and you're semi-in character for the duration of a meal.
Simply a human Fae envoy.
If you're a bit afraid of going buck wild around someone's
You
house.
are afraid of. Okay, so I think this game is going to go up on the Patreon. I don't know if we're going to post it anywhere.
This is a thing I will say, and without promising anything, because of the whole... I'm trying to remember... No, we didn't complain about how much stuff I have going on the podcast. I complained to you that off mic. I maintained a professional decorum on this podcast, as I always do.
Always.
I have a lot going on right now. But, at some point, maybe in late December or whatever, I'd be happy once you've written this to do layout for it, because I reckon it would be really fun to do some layout with some, old public domain book illustrations of fairies or food, which there's probably loads of. So, I could enjoy doing the layout for this, but I will make no promises on when that will happen.
Well, there you go. This won't be up with the episode. It'll be up in a few weeks, because I'm going away this weekend for my partner's birthday. But
Our partner's birthday.
Well, in this sentence, she's my partner, but...
Yes. I know, sorry, I was being silly.
the public girlfriend. Thank you for listening to Game Soup.
Game Soup.
Please don't hit me, Alyssa.